when Randy died, I was told, my parents called me immediately, said, your brother survived. He's okay. He was in the tour bus. Sharon and Ozzy hired me, but the record company hired him and the
Wow.
management.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not that I expect you to answer for Rudy, but was Rudy upset that you had been offered the gig and then you're out?
We were on tour and we were out with Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
We replaced Guns N' Roses. Our records are not even in the stores, or maybe they have like one or two. And here we're playing arenas with Iron Maiden. But afterwards, you can have a beer, Corona or something.
Sure. Sure.
I don't endorse Coronas, but now then maybe I should have.
Hey, Corona, write this guy a
Yeah.
check.
So I just performed with Corey Feldman, and
No way.
yeah, I recorded on his EP.
You did put out the Reconnected album in 2023, but in
Yeah,
October of that year, you announced your departure. I mean, can you go into
of working with Tony. I never said I was leaving Hurricane.
Okay.
My whole life. You want to do something? Do it. Start. Once things going to change, then you can say, okay, I changed too.
Okay.
The hair metal guru from Warren to Crew. The hair metal guru. Never forget Charlie too.
It is an honor to welcome Robert Sarzo to the show. Robert got his start playing guitar for DL Byron, who had some success in the early 80s. He formed Hurricane and put out a couple great albums and had a hit single with I'm On To You in 1988. And for a brief moment, he was supposed to be the guitarist to replace Randy Rhoads and Ozzy Osbourne's band. With that, Robert Sarzo, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Anthony. Great to be on your show, and I'm looking forward to this interview.
Yeah, so I was just checking your Facebook page, and I see that you're doing all these shows with a project called Idol X, which I think is
Yes,
a tribute to Billy Idol. How's that going?
yes, and interesting how I started being part of that project. I was playing with the bass player McGrath, that plays with Billy Idol for over 20-something years. I met him when I was doing a jam at the Whiskey A Go-Go,
Okay.
and those are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He saw me playing, and then we exchanged numbers, and we started performing as 80 Proof Voodoo,
Okay.
which is one of my old, band names that I've used in the past from being the Voodoo Man. So 80 Proof Voodoo was a three-piece band, and we rotated different drummers, and we would just play really intimate venues in town in California as a three-piece band. We would play Hendrix, Peter Frampton, whatever we wanted, we would do that. It's a three-piece band. He sang, I sang, and a lot of Beatles songs also.
Sure.
So one of the shows here in the area, the singer shows up that I guess he had been talking to McGrath, and went on stage with us, and we were doing a couple of Billy Idol songs because the bass player wanted to do that. He
Sure.
could sing the songs. So anyway, I started learning some of the catalog, and it kind of looks a little bit like Billy Idol,
Yeah.
younger,
Yeah.
with spiky hair and blonde hair.
Yep.
So anyway, we did a couple of songs, and then he called me one time after that, and he had a show coming up at the House of Blues in Anaheim, which is a fairly large venue. And he said, hey, are you available? Would you be interested in doing that show? And so I did the show. It was only I think like a 40-minute or 45-minute show. So it wasn't a lot of material that I had to learn. Plus, I was already familiar with some of their hit songs, and also I knew some of their songs. So I accepted the offer, and I did the show. It was all a tribute night.
Yeah.
Now, you know me, I've never been in a tribute band before. I never even considered being a tribute band because I've always been playing with national acts.
Yeah.
So this was really a new experience for me, meaning that we started playing. He looks like Billy Idol. Then all of a sudden he starts mimicking Billy Idol, his movements. He's got him down. He really has studied him.
Yeah.
And I'm flashing back to other people that, in the past they've done tributes to the Beatles and Elvis. And, this is nothing new, but
Yeah.
it's new to me.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the audience and it was packed. The House of Blues in Anaheim is not a small room. The place was packed with people that were really enjoying the show and they're like having a lot of fun. Us playing the material. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is really different. This is really unusual.
Okay.
Okay, I'll roll with it. So,
Okay.
after the show, it went really well. He asked me, I think he had some other shows coming up. He asked me if I would be interested. Uh, by that point, I already knew a lot of their songs.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is going back in time. So, their original drummer, Tommy Price, that
Yeah.
did the hit songs of Billy Idol was in DL Byron's band, which I tour with and I recorded.
Yeah.
So I'm used to the swag of that new wave
Yep.
movement. I was in it. I was recording it in New York City with Jimmy Iovine, Shelly Yakas, doing sessions for Garland Jeffries for the movie Times Square, which was a rebellious new wave movie. So it was kind of like punk new wave, even
Yeah.
though I'm a influenced by Jimi Hendrix and, a lot of heavy metal players and Robert Fripp from King Crimson and John McLaughlin, a fusion player, and yes. And so I can play different styles of music. So I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. So anyway, I adapted to the style very well. So shows, yeah, with Idol Legs. And I'll tell you, I perform and treat it just like if I was playing with the real Billy Idol.
Sure.
That's my approach. If you're going to do it, if you're doing a tribute band, and I say this to all the tribute bands because a lot of other bands that I've seen, none of the players have ever been in a national tour or worked with national producers that really changed your life and your way of thinking how to play
Sure.
because everything you hear and you listen to it. So you got to really be really careful how you treat the songs.
Yeah.
So, with all that being said, that's how we treat the songs in Idol X. Like we are really playing untoured, that we do it the way they kind of do it live.
Right.
And that's about it. We're just having fun with it.
Yeah.
The bottom line is the audience likes it.
Yeah.
They're having fun, and that's all that matters. It's all good. So we never pretend that we are Billy Idol or nothing like that. I mean, I'm just being Robert Sarzo, the Voodoo Man, playing guitar, playing the Billy Idol songs, and Matthew's doing the feel of what Billy Idol does himself. So
Sure.
that's basically it. And we've had some great players also in the project. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a lot of fun to do.
Okay. And I know you've got other things going on, and I want to get into the stuff besides Idol X, but I'd like to get a little bit of an idea about your history. You came to America from Cuba, correct?
That's right. September 1st, 1961, as we were immigrant refugees.
Okay.
We left the lights on. We left all of our belongings. We left everything that we had, anything valuable. We came with nothing,
Okay.
just our soul and spirit and dreams.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful to
Right.
be able to leave communism. So my parents were very comfortable financially, and they had a lot of courage
Okay.
to just abandon everything, but they knew the future of Cuba.
Right.
They knew what was happening there, and it's happened before in other countries. And my father and mom, they were very aware of things going around the world, what's happened in the past. My dad was always striving for greatness.
Okay.
And I will explain something. When he was younger, he was in gymnastics and he was representing Cuba, but he was champion in Cuba in gymnastics for 3 straight years.
Okay.
That takes a lot of work, dedication, focus, belief, and integrity that you have to really put in the time. And he showed me how to do that.
Yeah.
My dad influenced me that if you want something great, you got to do it. No one's going to do it for you. You got to think big. And my mom was a tennis pro in Cuba.
Oh, wow.
Uh, she, her job was playing tennis, like they have in Miami High LI, that
Yeah.
they have gambling and, and the players are playing to win,
Okay.
and people will place bets for you or
Okay.
against you.
Sure.
So she won a lot of games, but yeah, she was making a living playing tennis, and my dad was a gymnast. But then my dad was also asked to represent Cuba in the Olympics, and there was too much commotion going on around the world that the family did not let him leave the country
Okay.
to go to the Olympics. But he was asked to go to the Olympics. He had a lot of medals. My aunts and uncles told me
Yeah.
that, and we left them all behind. We could not bring anything.
Well, it seems like your parents like drive to succeed and willingness to face risks that must have influenced you and your brother Rudy like a lot.
Totally, 100%. You're born, um, really, you come to this world just you and your soul. And DNA's got a lot to do with it too, but you become a product of your environment. So, with all that being said, depending on your environment, and our environment was very, we were refugees,
Yeah.
immigrants. We really, the government helped us to get it together,
Yeah.
and we're totally very grateful for that. I believe in that. I believe that people that come to this country, they want to work hard
Yeah.
and they have a purpose to contribute to society, should be allowed to,
Okay.
just like we did. There's no difference. So, um, yeah, I mean, and we weren't the only ones that went through that. There were other people that we knew, my aunt and uncle. They came in the same time we did. We flew Pan Am. We wore a three-piece suit, and that's all we had because they had through the church organizations in Cuba what was called Peter Pan.
Mhm.
And Peter Pan was a program that the churches were put into place, that they will allow young kids to come to America by themselves because the parents could not get a visa to leave. We
Sure.
had a visa. Took
Okay.
3 years to get. So um, so those planes were propeller airplanes. They're only allowed so much weight in the planes. They asked my parents, would it be okay if you left your bags behind, which we didn't bring much as clothing, and we'll ship them another time just so we can bring more children to
Okay.
America?
Okay.
Parents said, of course. So we came to America with no clothing, just three-piece suit, and sleeping on floors and, wherever relatives, can put us up to sleep. And we were still very grateful. It's like we got out of that. But me being a 6-year-old boy, it was very confusing.
I'm sure.
Leaving your family, your grandma, your home. Yeah, it was
What did your parents do, or what did you guys do when you got to America? Like, how did they get started and eventually
well.
to the music?
First of all, we had to secure Social Security. I had my Social Security card very young. I think I was 6 years old.
Okay.
Um, Getting established, new country, learning the language. We didn't know how to speak English.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my dad working. The only jobs available in that I know of in Miami, they were in working with boats, fiberglass,
Sure.
maintaining boats, fixing them, building, manufacturing boats. So there was a lot of work available for that kind of labor. Again, when you don't know the language, it's kind of difficult to be
Sure.
working, in
Sure.
an office.
Sure.
Um, Even though my dad had a profession, but he wasn't able to, use that profession. And it happened to a lot of other people too.
Sure.
Even, people that were medical doctors, they didn't have a license to work here. They didn't have their, credentials to work. So they had to scrub floors and clean toilets. And, it's just It's the American dream. You gotta, do what you do, and you keep doing it, and you get better and better, and then you move up. And
Amen.
um, and that's what we did. So we ended up in New Jersey 2 years later. And I remember watching the Ed Sullivan Show with my brother. We were both, and I don't think my mom and dad care, but we were watching the Ed Sullivan Show, and guess what pops in? Oh, pops on TV? The Beatles.
Yeah.
The first show of the Beatles.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it, and I'm mesmerized, like, this is awesome from another country. I'm from another country too. And they they speak different, their accent than the people here. So I'm like, okay, I get it. So and I always was intrigued by music because my uncle was an opera singer and pianist.
Okay.
So he was entertaining us, singing opera and piano. And my aunt was an actress in Cuba, an entertainer in casinos. She sang. She took me to one of their casino during Christmas, and I remember walking in. It was nice and air conditioned, and all the walls were black, and the lights and the stage. I was like, "Ooh, this feels
Yeah.
good to me. This
Yeah.
feels, at home. This is my zone. I like this." So
Okay.
anyway, yeah, so I put one and one together. It's like I can do that.
Okay.
So uh my parents didn't have a lot of money, but again, they always supported us with what things that we wanted.
Yeah.
And they bought us a acoustic guitar through Spiegel magazine, and we got a Silvertone acoustic guitar. It arrived just like
Okay.
Amazon now, right? You do it like a catalog. And so anyway, here we got a guitar. There's the Beatles. There's Dave Clark Five. There's all these bands, and there was no internet. So we figure it out how to play the instrument.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I was very passionate about the guitars. I spent hours and hours trying to figure it out. And
Yeah.
I remember I was for 2 years in New Jersey, and we went back to Florida and in Miami. And I remember my first time, and I'll tell you, Anthony, I can see the picture of me sitting in I think it was my parents' bedroom, and I'm playing the E chord, the D, and the A. All of a sudden, just bang, I did it. And it's like, whoa, I got the three chords. Down, down, Gloria,
There you
right?
go. Yeah.
There you go. That was it.
Right.
From there on, I twisted those chords, and they became hello, hello, oh man. It's just those 1, 4, 5, right?
Right.
In different directions you put it, you have a lot of songs.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of it all. And then from there, I got a harmony guitar, which was a replica of the Les Paul, the Gibson Les Paul.
Sure.
And that picture, I believe I have it, but I don't know if that's the picture that my brother posted in his book, Off the Rails. There was
Rails.
one when we first came from Cuba, and we were wearing the suit.
Okay.
And that's probably because that's all we had to wear.
Right.
It's the
Right.
first place that we lived at, and in Miami. So
When did
Wow.
you first venture into, okay, I'm going to round up some friends, or you and your brother, and we're going to start like trying to play some shows?
I actually started making money at the age of 11 performing.
Okay.
I would put bands together, and on some of them my brother was in, some of them he was not. But
Okay.
I started, doing that, and then we also played a lot in Fort Lauderdale later on. Like, well, I was like 17 years old, 16. I got my driver's license at 14 and a half.
Okay.
That's young.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now my regular driver's license, and I had my first car at 14 and a half.
Okay.
And a lot of drive in me
Yeah.
to do things. So that's when I started really going out there and driving all over the place and booking shows and making money. I would put a catalog together. I would type my own contracts, copying other people's contracts, and negotiate with these club owners in Fort Lauderdale, Miami Beach, all over the place. very young age. I wanted to, make something of myself, and I wanted money to buy more gear, and I did. So,
Before DL Byron, and did you do like work with Jimmy Iovine and maybe some stuff with Billy Joel? I'm looking at I watched an old interview with you, and it was talking about stuff that you were talking about, things that I think was before DL Byron. What were some musical opportunities you had before DL Byron?
well, no, it pretty much. I had a 4-track studio in, excuse me, New Jersey,
Yeah.
and because I was playing, a lot of clubs in New Jersey. I went to Jersey in 1975. Actually, me and my brother went up north to Albany and Utica to work with some other artists, and we were going to start doing a record,
Okay.
and that fell apart, did not work.
Okay.
So we landed, we went back, we drove back to New Jersey, and I decided to stay in Jersey. I wanted to uh, really hustle in New York City. My brother went out with some of the band players that he knew. He asked me if I wanted to do it with him, and I said, I really want to break into New York City. To me, it was a big challenge.
Sure.
So he left, and I stayed, and I started just answering all the ads in New York City with I would show up uh, Manhattan with my Telecaster, which is I think was early 60s, in my gig bag in the back, and I would go to all the bulletin boards and all the tall high rises, anything with music.
Yeah.
I would show up in the office and see what they were doing and
Okay.
introduce myself every day. I did that for about a month, and I um, I remember I answered to an ad that I saw at the Village Voice, I think it was, and it was the bass player Tom Gongren. He was doing a project. I went to his audition. He was in LA. I was still, on the East Coast,
Yeah.
in Jersey. When he came back to Manhattan, I showed up at the audition, and the audition was already taken by somebody else, but the other person that got it gave me the lead to the band that he was leaving,
Okay.
and that was the D.O. Byron band.
And that was DL Byron. Okay.
That
Okay.
was the band. I showed up at their rehearsal in New York City. They were already signed. They were already working with the producer. They had the deal. They were going into the studio to record the album 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I showed up at their rehearsal. I believe the rehearsal room was called Star Rehearsals in Manhattan.
Okay.
So I had to wait for a few hours in Manhattan, and I showed up at the rehearsal, and they knew nothing of it. You got to remember, there was no cell phones, there was no internet, nothing. I
Yeah.
was the messenger telling the guys pretty much that, hey, your other guitar player, he's done, he's gone. I'm the guy, right? I
Okay.
didn't know.
Yeah.
He never explained anything. He just told me show up.
Okay.
So they were like, whoa, okay. So I had to go back next day, and their manager gave me their cassette tape of the album, of the demo. I drove back to Jersey. I learned the whole album in a few hours, and I went back then, the next day and played the whole album. And they were like, whoa, I guess this guy really wants the gig.
Right.
Little did they know that, in Miami, that's what you do. You're always learning new material. You're playing top 40 in the clubs. You're a jukebox,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you got to be really sharp. You got to remember all the patterns. You got to. And so anyway, I learned the album. 2 weeks later, I'm recording at the record plant with Jimmy Iovine,
Yeah.
Shelly Yakus, and yeah. And that was my door to get into doing more session work and stuff for films, and all of a sudden that was it. It's like I was on a roller coaster going really fast up and there. It was great. It was good. And then January came about, early January, and that's when we started going out on tour. Boomtown Rats, they had the hit song I Don't Like Monday.
Yeah.
And so I got to meet, the guys in the band, Bob Geldof. Actually, we went to John Belushi's back house. somewhere. I think it was in Cleveland. I think it was. I don't remember. It was a while ago, but yeah, I got to hang out with Bob Geldof, and yeah, they were great guys. And then after that, yeah, toured with Bob Seger, opening up with Bob Seger.
Yeah.
My first Jack and Coke was with Bob Seger. Yeah,
And
in
Bob
his hotel.
Seger was on top of the world. That's right around Against the Wind, which went to number one anyway.
Oh, every song that they played, this is 1980. It was a hit.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, this
Yeah.
is incredible catalog. What a nice guy, too. What a
Right.
talent. The
Yeah.
whole band was great, too.
Yeah.
But I think that lasted for about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then we went off to doing other shows,
Okay.
radio broadcasts and headlining shows. And yeah, it was a good band that we had, the DL Byron band.
You had kind of a minor hit, I think, with Listen to the Heartbeat. Was a
Yeah,
video that
that's
you
one of the single.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went into that band. My hair was really long,
Yeah.
pretty much down to my waist, and I saw the concept. I saw that it was the new wave, vibe, and so I went along with it. So I cut my hair more new wave, and there's a picture that I posted not too long ago that I'm going into the recording studio with my Les Paul. It's got
Yeah.
my name on it, and I got short hair, and yeah,
And then
you got to fit me. If you join a band, you got to fit in.
yeah. Yeah.
You know.
On DL Byron's second album, there's a song called Shadows of the Night that ended up being a massive hit for Pat Benatar, but DL Byron wrote that. Were you on that album as well?
No, we recorded that demo, and I'm looking
Okay.
for it. Uh, and the demo was at the record plant, and Tommy was, I guess, on tour. I don't know with who, maybe Mank DeVille or Joan Jett or who knows who, but Dino Denali from the Young Rascal shows up, and he was our drummer. And we did the demo. And from what I heard was that Clive Davis didn't think that we had enough hit songs
Okay.
for the second album.
Okay.
We were working on it,
Okay.
and he dropped the project,
Okay.
and we had Shadows of the Night, the hit song.
Was one of the
Uh,
songs.
It's a great song. I gotta find the demo. I'm looking for it.
Well, I after I read about that, there is a version on YouTube that says it is by DL Byron. So I was assuming it was the demo, but anyway. So
There was probably a few demo, but we had, we were still signed. The band was signed to
okay.
Arista.
Okay.
So we did it at the record plant in the real way of recording. It wasn't like a home recording or
Sure.
you
Sure.
know. So yeah, D.L. Byron, he passed away a couple of years ago.
Okay.
We were still in touch. We were friends, and I really learned how to write a song observing him,
Yeah.
lyric wise and musical
Yeah.
way of structuring songs. He was a brilliant songwriter.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
And
listening, like really short, catchy, almost punky, new wavy stuff. I mean, 2 minutes in and out, it seemed like at least some of the stuff that I was listening to. So
great frontman,
yeah.
great guy to hang out with. I miss him. And I'm sure his family and children they miss him as well. He was a friend.
So what?
And
Okay.
we were writing for we were working and talking about writing something new for my Hurricane album
Okay.
that I was producing,
Okay.
which is the one that was released in 2023.
Reconnected.
Yeah, Reconnected. I knew that if I had, D.L. Byron, he would, do something really good. But we never got to do it.
Okay. What happened to and you don't have to answer, but I mean, I didn't know he had passed away.
Yeah, D.O. passed away. Yeah, and I had talked to him like weeks before. He just passed away from what I was told. was in his sleep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What happened at like so you were gonna get the opportunity with Ozzy after DL Byron, but like was there any reason that you left DL Byron or what happened at the end of that?
DL Byron was dropped from the label,
Okay.
and the whole project, there was no more financing.
Okay.
DL he had a publishing deal,
Okay.
and that's my little doggy. Uh, and so he went back to songwriting for other people.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, he had publishing deals, and that's why he got signed to do a solo record because they knew he had a lot of good songs,
Yeah.
and he was excellent frontman
Yeah.
performer. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so he went back to that.
Okay.
I was asked to do the Minkdeville tour because I recorded with him for the movie Times Square,
That's right.
and I didn't know the future that was going to happen. What was happening with DL Byron. I didn't know he was getting dropped. So I turned down the offer to go and tour with him, which I like Garland Jeffries, reggae artist. Um, and he wanted me to go out and tour with him. And I said, I'm playing with DL, so I didn't want to leave that project. I really like the band.
Sure.
So then after, then they came out with an album, a live album, and it sounded really good. I'm like, wow, man, I wish, I said, yeah, I'll do it,
Right.
but I didn't want to abandon DL.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was that. And yeah, what happened was, um, when Randy died, I was told, my parents called me immediately, said, your brother survived. He's okay. He was in the tour bus. So I had met already Randy when they played at the Capitol Theater in New Jersey.
Okay.
I was still living there, and I met Ozzy. And Sharon and hung out with him. And, you've seen pictures of me hanging out with them. Um, so they knew of me. And also, my wife at the time, Susie, had told Sharon, I remember I was there, and Ozzy, if you hear of any opportunities for Robert, is a amazing guitarist. He's done the touring, the albums, and he's available.
Yeah.
So perhaps that stayed in the back of their head. But when that happened, also, when he passed, I imagine my brother, I believe, told him, to, give me a shot,
Yeah.
that I was available. And my brother knows my integrity of when you learn an album or you're going to do a job, you do it. There's no goofing around. You take care of business. So anyway, I get a call from Ozzy, actually from my brother, and then he puts on Ozzy on the phone, and we talked for a little bit. I was still in Jersey, and Ozzy's asking me, my roots in music, and so he went ahead and he put, I believe he put Sharon after that, and they bought me a flight ticket to go back to, to go to Los Angeles. I hadn't played there yet.
Sure.
I was on the Midwest and East Coast. So my first experience in California and Los Angeles was, driving around, going around, hanging out with Sharon and Ozzy. And here I am in Beverly Hills, which is a great first impression, in Westwood, and going around, top places, Trader Vic's, because they put me up at the Hilton.
Yeah.
So I was rehearsing with the band. And when Ozzy came back from the David Letterman show, we went over the set, and he goes, you still interested? And I said, yeah, that's why I'm here. So I learned the whole show. I was rehearsing with the band without Ozzy, and then we rehearsed with him. He hired me.
Okay.
So, and Sharon hired me. They both wanted me in the band. What happened was, I didn't even know, they didn't even know that there was Bernie Tremaine was in California, but they didn't know why he was there. And when Bernie found out that I was hired, that's when he approached Sharon and said, but your father and the record company, David, already hired me, and I'm here with my equipment, and I got paid. So Sharon and Ozzy hired me, but the record company hired him and the
Wow.
management.
Wow.
Yeah. So there was that confusion, chaos going on. So they said we got to go with him because he's already here and they came from England, and
Yeah.
so it's like I totally understand. So I flew back with them, and the next show, because Ozzy was already talking with me about ordering the same pedal board he had for Randy.
Okay.
He had it made in England,
Yeah.
and I had already a really sweet Marshall, a plexiglass original Marshall. So I had old Marshall gears
Yeah.
and back in Jersey. So I was going to take that on the road.
Yeah.
But so anyway, went back to Jersey and I hung out with them at the Madison Square Garden show. And after the show, we went to the penthouse that belonged to Don Arden and hung out with them and got to talk with Ozzy, a lot after the show. And he really wanted me in the band.
Okay.
But, things didn't work out. And then after that, I just moved on. But in the back of my head, it's like, well, I don't like cold weather. I like the industry in LA. I
Yeah.
love palm trees because I grew up in Miami.
Yeah.
I already owned a house by then. I was 23 years old. And my wife also Susie used to live in Los Angeles. She
Okay.
goes, let's sell the house and let's move. And we did, like months later.
I
And
was
that's why I'm in Los Angeles,
okay.
because they flew me here and I fell in love with LA, and I'm still here.
Okay. I was gonna ask this was what was the mood of those rehearsals being that Randy, I mean, I'm assuming you guys weren't like, all right, let's party and have fun. I mean, was it kind of a difficult time period?
It was a very dark, sad,
Okay.
deep moment.
Yeah.
It was basically something that needed to be done to keep Ozzy busy
Yeah.
and moving forward. Their decision wasn't to stop and wait. It
Yeah.
was like, no, you got to keep going. You got to go out there. And that's what they were doing. Um, it was, even when Sharon told me that, they had to use this other guitar player, I, when they told me that they were, that they hired me and they wanted me to obviously be in the band, it wasn't like, wow, this is great. No, it was like, I met Randy.
Yeah.
Randy was a gentle soul, talented, really good human being. And being one of my brother's best friends,
Yeah.
that meant a lot more. So I just wanted to get him out of that situation. It
Sure.
wasn't like I was like, hey, this is great. It's a band now that I'm with. It was more like, no, I'm playing Randy's parts, and I learned that note by note with his expression, just like I did when I used to learn Hendrix, just like when I learned Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin, Jeff Beck. Uh, uh, you really get deep and you study why they're bending the notes, the compression of the note, why
Sure.
they're playing a pinch harmonic there. I was studying their live version of their so of their tour,
Yeah.
and that's the cassette that I had. They had performed live, and I had recorded it because of my brother being in the band, and
Yeah.
I liked their songs.
Sure.
Um, so yeah, it was really sad
Yeah.
thing that they were going through. It was horrible.
Yeah.
It's a disaster
Sure.
and chaotic.
Yeah. Did was and you know, not that I expect you to answer for Rudy, but was Rudy upset that you had been offered the gig and then you're out? Like was Rudy did he ever talk to you about it? Like, man, I'm sorry, or what did he say about it?
Years later,
Okay.
and he really told me that yeah, he wanted me to be, if somebody was going to be playing his best friend's parts,
Yeah.
he wanted me to do it.
Okay.
I grew up playing with him, and he knew that I would put in the integrity that Randy deserves.
Right. Okay.
You know, brilliant, brilliant guitarist, songwriter, person, performer, all around. He had it all. He had a great career in front of him, and he should have not died in that crash. He
Yep.
should not, but you can't control other people what they do.
Right. Right.
So, but yeah, and, at that time there was no cell phones, there was no communication to really. Every time you moved, you had a different phone number,
Yeah.
and my brother just wasn't. It wasn't the same anymore, not having Randy there,
Yeah.
the band. So that's why he probably. And I'm not Rudy, I cannot speak for him, but I can imagine that must have been really difficult for him to go on stage and play,
Sure.
without Randy.
Sure. And he doesn't stay very much longer because then he goes back and Quiet Riot starts.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah.
How do you end up? I don't think, or was there anything else that you did after Ozzy before you end up meeting Tony Cavazzo and start to form Hurricane?
Um, when I
Excuse-
moved to California, I checked out bands that maybe they were looking for guitar players, but I didn't like the direction of music. I didn't like how they were treating the songs. They were very flaky, very loose. I
Okay.
did notice the difference of musicians in the New York, Jersey area, the northern east, than the West Coast. There was a lot of just hanging out at the Rainbow, posing. It was about having a good time, party.
Yeah.
It was a very loose waste of time. I wanted to be in a band that was more focused,
Okay.
and people would show up to rehearse and write, treat it more like a business.
Yeah.
So I had to start creating a band. It's like, okay, this is what I've done my whole life. You want to do something? Do it. Start.
Yeah.
Put it together. So I came up with the name Hurricane, being from Miami, going through hurricanes, right?
Yeah.
So I started auditioning other musicians before Tony. So,
Okay.
you just start playing, with other people. And it wasn't until I met up with Tony because of the affiliation with my brother and his brother
Yeah.
that then it's like, okay, let's write, let's do this. And I had this riff uh, from the song Hurricane that I had that. I had that, and I think that was kind of an influence of playing Crazy Train.
Okay.
When I played Crazy Train, during the rehearsals with the
Yeah.
band. So that's kind of like how that riff kind of I got influence.
Yeah.
It didn't copy it, but it kind of,
Sure.
it had that drive. And so that was the first song that I wrote the music. And then I brought it to Tony, and, it was kind of like a jam and kind of developed into the song. So him and I wrote the lyrics. We wrote everything, the music and the lyrics before we knew Kelly or Jay.
Okay. Okay.
And we recorded it into my 4-track reel, the TIAC that I had. It was a pretty big machine with the big reels,
Yeah.
10.5-inch reel, I think they were.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that was that. And we just kept adding songs and trying out different musicians. And then we had John Sheard from England playing drums, and then he introduced us to Kelly, that he was playing a club circuit over here,
Okay.
playing cover top 40 songs. So from there, we just kind of just did the natural thing. Just keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. And after, just recording songs, I realized that in California, especially in LA, if you wanted to play the Whiskey or any clubs, right on Sunset Strip, you had to pay to play. You had to buy tickets and sell
Yeah.
them.
Yep.
So being from the East Coast, I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I've already been on tour with Bob Seger, and there's got to be a better way. I knew how they did it, and
Sure.
after working with great producers, I said, look, let's just do our own recording. Let's get donations and financing from friends and family,
Yeah.
and let's do a demo. So that demo turned into Take What You Want,
Yes.
and we got signed. We were getting airplay on KME. Where was it? Oh my God, here, let me show you this.
Sure.
On KNAC.
KNAC. I mean, that's the rock station back then.
Long Beach, right? That station really helped a lot of bands.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still have the KNC Pure Rock at the LA Coliseum, Monsters of Rock. I play
Oh.
there.
Badass. Oh, that's so
I
cool.
still have the original. I got a few of them.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just found it yesterday on top of my Pro Tools setup.
Okay. Okay.
I keep a lot of stuff. I still have all my itineraries, touring, all of them, even clothing from videos.
That's all. I think that's awesome because I think a lot of rock stars kind of regret the stuff that they didn't hold on to from back in the day. So, anyway.
I actually, I'll tell you something. So, and I agree with you. A lot of them, just, I don't know what they do with it, but the video, what video was that? I think it was Hurricane Coming. Yeah, the Hurricane Coming outfit that I was wearing, I dyed the same pants, darker, and I wore it on tour with Queensrÿche with Jeff Tate.
Oh, no way.
And the tails that I had is from Over the Edge. I wore that on tour. They were long, really old tails from like early 1900 that I bought in New York City for the video Over the Edge.
Yeah.
So I put both video clothing, and then I wore a Clockwork Orange, which I used to wear back. I love the movie Clockwork Orange. So I wore that video t-shirt on tour also.
Okay.
And I used that on I think it was Over the Edge video that we did on top of Times Square and Times Square Building 1. Yeah. So so I keep clothing. I
That's
circulated,
awesome.
change them a little bit.
Sure. So you guys record that EP, and then do you start playing? I mean, it's a self-financed, and then I'll change my questioning. How does Enigma come in after the EP is released? The self-financed EP.
Well, we were shopping it, and it wasn't until Lane Collins, the wife of one of the brothers of Enigma, her husband used to give her a box of cassettes, and she saw our picture and our cassette, and she picked us.
Okay.
Yeah, so we get a call. Our manager gets a call, and they signed us. It was actually the same record that we self-produced.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. And then I added La Luna, which is the classical piece that I wrote.
Right.
So I went in, I think at 4:00 in the morning, downtime at Amigo Studio, and I recorded that over there. No, Sound City Studio.
Okay.
I recorded that with the big famous board.
Yeah.
The Sound City board. Yeah. And I had a Spanish classical guitar.
Yeah.
4:00 in the morning, down in coffee, like, yeah, got to record this.
Sound City is
studio.
Sound City is the studio that Dave Grohl did a documentary on. It's a famous studio. So,
yeah. So when we recorded the EP, Take What You Want, we were getting airplay in KNAC with Tom Mastery and some of the other DJs, and they would have me go and be the mystery guest, and they were really like working with us. We did a back-to-back Gazaris, and with KNAC was broadcast live.
yeah.
But because of that, we didn't have to pay to play.
Okay.
We had airplay. So all the time it's like, oh, okay, they can headline.
Okay. Okay.
So it worked. The plan worked.
So at that time, well, the EP comes out in 85, but in 83, what was it like seeing your brother's band, Quiet Riot, explode? They went to #1 with Mental Health. I mean, that must have been kind of a crazy moment.
It was great. It was like, oh yeah, of course. That's that's what happens. I mean, I went to their hangout, or maybe it was a release party before they went out on tour.
Yeah.
And I remember, talking to Kevin and saying, Kevin, don't get egotistical. Once you start getting famous, don't do what other lead singers do,
I
because
don't
I
think
already,
I don't
yeah.
think Kevin followed that advice very well, at least back in the
Well,
80s.
Kevin was being Kevin,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was hanging out in the Rainbow upstairs in the private room upstairs, and that was a good hang. And but yeah, it was fun. It was great. I was just very happy to see, the band doing well and my brother.
Yeah.
And I already had tour, doing the arena tour. So I was familiar with that. It was
Sure.
just now it's like, yeah, now I got to put my own band together, right?
And
So
that, I mean, that had to be, I mean, because here you got Robert Sarzo and Tony Cavazzo, and Quiet Riot, who is one of the biggest bands in the world, has the brothers Rudy and Carlos. So I mean, did you guys look at that as like, hey, this is going to help get our foot in the door?
I don't know. Again, because people were looking as like, oh, the little brothers of Quiet Riot, but in reality, I mean, Tony had been playing with his brother and in other bands, and I had been already, doing tours. So, but the public saw it that way.
Sure.
Uh, I had in full endorsements even before we got signed
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
already knew the system. I was going at to the NAMM show, which is the National Association of Music Merchants. As soon as I moved here, I started attending that, and I was just very familiar with the industry.
Yeah.
So I was kind of just guiding my career, and whoever else was, attached to my career, they benefit from it.
Yeah.
So,
Did you
like in
work?
other words, when Jay joined the band, I was already heavily endorsed by IBNS, and the rep told me, "Well, whoever's your next drummer, he's guaranteed I'm going to get him a Tama drum set."
Okay. Okay.
And he got the biggest Tama drum set endorsement. I mean, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
He made it a custom made with snakeskin, and so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's how it works. We're all team players.
Sure. Did you work with Sam Kinison on his Leader of the Band album?
Yeah, I did. I knew Sam, but my brother actually recommended me to record wherever they have a guitar player. It didn't work out,
Okay.
so I get a call, and I think it was the same day or the next day because I lived, in the valley, and the studio was in the valley. So I went in and I recorded under my thumb with Sam Kinison.
Okay.
And Mike Beer was a drummer, my brother playing bass, and Sam sang great.
Sure.
If you listen, oh yeah, it was really a good singer.
Yeah, he was. Totally.
Yeah, and great guy to hang out with. So from there on, we became close friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully you didn't have to try to keep up with him when it came to partying and stuff, because that probably would have been tough.
I did not go, and I hung out with him, but I could not keep up with him.
Sure.
It's like, Sam, I gotta go to bed. I gotta leave. Oh, it's only 3 in the morning. Come on. It's like, no, I'm going home. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
For real. Yeah. He was great. Oh yeah, man. God, what talent. And his family, lovely, all as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still in
Um,
touch with his brother also.
okay.
Phil, yeah.
Awesome. You got to work with Mike Klink was the producer, and Bob Ezrin was the executive producer, I think, on Over the Edge.
That is correct. Yeah.
What was it like making that album?
Uh, it was interesting because um, we were at the old Warner Brothers Studios in on Weddington Street in North Hollywood. We did a lot of pre-production. We went into the studio pretty much knowing what we were going to do.
Okay.
And but it took 10 days for Bob to you know, to actually approve the drum sound.
Okay.
We kept changing it from room to room. We actually had Jay play at a separate building next door with cameras. We would watch him. And
Okay.
then we would, play along with him. And then, just like everybody else, then you clean up your bass tracks, your other tracks. You start building, but the most important thing is getting that killer drum,
Yeah.
tracks. So that's how we did it. Yeah. And then I did a lot of recordings, separately with Mike Klink, or then at the end with Bob Ezrin,
Okay.
like putting the icing on top of the cake,
Sure.
doing a lot of overdubs. And I did use David Gilmour's Kruger, the Little Lamp, that he had just done the album with.
Okay.
So, which belonged to Bob Ezrin. So Bob brought his own board, a lot of outboard gear. So we did a lot of tracking after everybody else,
Sure.
and I added more guitar things that he wanted to hear. Brilliant. They're both great producers. So
Yeah.
we were in really good hands.
So once you get done with Over the Edge, do you feel like, okay, we have the album that is going to allow us to take the big leap and become one of the bigger bands?
Yeah. Well, you hope.
Yeah.
We were on tour, and we were out with Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
We replaced Guns N' Roses
Yeah.
on tour, and you know why. So
Yeah.
Iron Maiden, is traveling with their family. They're sober, and
Yeah.
they're like, no, I've been through this. They didn't want to party,
Right.
and we were known as the band that we were jocks. We would play tennis on the road, and
Yeah.
bring a baseball and glove, watch sports.
Yeah.
So basically, that's what we did. Uh, so we're calling record stores when we're on tour, and our records are not even in the stores, or maybe they have like one or two. And here we're playing arenas with our Maiden.
Right.
So it's like, come on, guys. And it was EMI Capital, they're doing the distribution and Enigma, and
Yeah.
but uh, but we got a lot of MTV, uh, press on MTV, because that's basically what it was doing.
Yeah.
Everybody knew of us, and our songs were always on the radio. I'm on to you.
Yeah.
We were on the road, we turned it on in our traveling coach, and there it is. It's on. It was on heavy rotation also. So
Totally.
that was
Yeah.
good. We
Yeah.
were on the path,
Yeah.
up slowly, but just keep doing it and keep doing it. But after traveling for some, few years in such small compartments of everybody on top of everybody, I think people start getting a little irritated,
Sure.
and no one has their own space, and that happened with a lot of bands, and it just broke up. It got to the point of frustrations, and probably lack of money. Money's always a problem, even in marriage,
Yeah.
unless if you have a really strong foundation. A lot of marriages don't last. So yeah, the band just fell apart.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, didn't you besides Maiden, you were on the road with Striper, I think, for a long time on that album as well, right?
Real long time. We were at the beginning, we were out with Rick Derringer, we were out with uh Gary Moore.
Yeah.
Um that was actually on the first EP. We were on tours, leg of tours.
Okay.
We got to share sometimes the same guitar room, so we would hear each other, warming up. I always warm up, so what else are you gonna do?
Right.
You know, you warm up, you play.
Yeah. Over the did pretty well, but like you said, you're on the road for a long time. You're maybe, people think that you're making all this money, but you're not. So when do you start noticing like, hey, there's a problem here?
Uh, well, when you come home and you still don't have, the finances you should have,
Yeah.
you're struggling. I was married, and I had, my son, Robert Sarzo Jr. And so Yeah, I mean, I would when I was home, I wanted to be with my son also, spend a little time with him because I will be gone for months.
Yeah.
There's no internet, there's
Yeah.
no FaceTime, there's nothing. Or payphone.
Yeah.
That's, in truck stops, dirty payphones,
Yeah.
which I didn't care. But, so yeah, it's just things got weird. Things got really, it seemed like I was on the road and I will always bring my Tascam 244 to create and write songs. On my days off, I will be writing.
Yeah.
And I brought a drum machine. I will be hauling all my gear into the hotel rooms and write because that's my peak. I'm on the road. That's when I'm thinking all music. I'm not worrying about watering the garden or anything else. This
Right.
is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of material. And when we got back, I was trying to get that across. But I think the band started getting into different musical directions.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, uh, yeah, so that started creating a weirdness in the band.
Okay.
When you have already different people, pulling different directions. So Enigma offered me my solo record deal, and I accepted it. Well, it
Okay.
was part of the contract that
Okay.
if I was not in the band anymore, then they had the option to have me do a solo record, Sarzo. And that's the album that I eventually put out because I I put it in a vault and I let it sit for years. And I put it out, released it in 2013.
Okay.
When I was out with Queensryche, and it became number one. It was Rocking Espanol. It was in English and Spanish.
Yeah.
And it became number one bestseller on Amazon downloads on the Spanish
Yeah. I saw that.
site.
I
Yeah,
saw that.
so I pulled it off. It's not for sale anymore. So what I'm doing is I'm going to re-release it again and add a few more tracks.
Okay. Because
And I'm going to change it a little.
I was looking all over online. I'm like, I'm gonna find this album, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So okay.
There's one. They all sold. There's one available on eBay for $125
Yikes. Yikes. Okay.
for a CD. I didn't even sign it. I mean, I don't even know who has it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
don't even have a copy of it.
But you're gonna put it back out with extra tracks.
Yes.
Okay. Um, I'm only gonna bring this up because I heard you talk about it in an interview. So if you don't want to go into it, you don't have to go into it, obviously. But I heard you say in an interview that you felt like there was a push with Kelly to get you out of the band before Slave to the Thrill. And I'll stop there, and if you want to go into it or if you don't.
Well, they were looking at other guitar players while we were rehearsing for the album. And I found out through people at the recording studio, at the rehearsal studio. And I still don't know why. It seems like it was more a possible control issue.
Okay.
I mean, why change something that is working very well? And I actually started the whole thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, and there were rumors going around that they weren't true. I
Right.
was, spending time coaching my son in T-ball and things like that. So yeah, it's just things got really weird. And that at that time, when things happen like that, you know, it was meant to happen for whatever
Sure.
reason. So
Sure.
you have to accept it and yeah, move on.
Did you and Tony had started the band? Did you two have any conversations when all this was going down? Like, did Tony, say, "Hey, man, no, I want
No,
you," or
it was almost like it was a done deal already when
okay,
they did that. And I felt it coming when the band wanted to um, fire our manager, Gary Ballin, that had been there from the beginning.
okay,
And Gary and I worked really close together from the beginning, like coming up with ideas for the band and promoting and who do we know and how can we go around, making a better deal for the band. So
mhm,
um, before we met, him, I was managing the band.
okay,
Um, but I share everything equally with the band because we were rehearsing as a band together, at the band. It wasn't like we were finishing bringing songs that were completed. We were, working them out together. Everybody was spending energy at the rehearsal room. We had a rehearsal lockout, and we spent a lot of hours together doing that, and it
Yeah.
worked. So yeah, of course, everybody should deserve an equal share in the writing at that time. We were all doing that.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, it didn't work out.
Okay. Okay.
And it's happened with many other bands. This is
Yeah.
we're not the first one. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
why a lot of bands go and get therapy, and discuss it. Because it gets to the point. It's like, okay, this is a business and it's selling and it's working. You guys got to figure it out. You got to talk. But
Some
we
bands either
never
go
got to
get
that point.
therapy or some go get alcohol problems or anyway. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I'm not an addictive person. And yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not a drug addict. I
Yeah.
I don't I love going on stage and playing totally sober
Yeah. Right.
because I want to feel the energy of
Mhm.
my instrument reaching the audience and feeling it back. All the harmonics, everything has a frequency and a vibration in earth.
Yeah.
We're constantly spinning. So the brain shoots electrical waves
Yeah.
and the audience gets it. And it's like a figure eight. So to be able
Yeah.
to do that, to go into that quantum field, you got to be totally aware, consciousness.
Yeah.
That's being totally sober. It's a great experience and being, totally alert, you know. So, but afterwards, you can have a beer, a Corona or something.
Sure. Sure.
I don't endorse Coronas, but now then maybe I should
Hey, Corona, write this guy a
have.
check. Um,
Yeah.
so you start recording after the storm for Enigma. They pick up your option after you're out of Hurricane. What happens? Because it doesn't come out until 2013. What happened with that album at the time you were
No,
recording it?
I owned the master and they went bankrupt.
Enigma.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I
So
got
I kept the master. And then later, I found a really small indie label that, didn't really do much. But on its own, it went bestseller.
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke when I saw it. It came up on my Google search, I think it was. Like,
Yeah.
oh, my name, came up. And I'm like, all right, who's pulling my leg? Who's doing who's doing this? Not until uh, friends and call me and say, "Hey, man, your album is number one bestseller," and it went for weeks. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Like,
Number
okay,
one on
that's cool.
Amazon for 3 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. I took screenshots of it, and
Absolutely.
anyway, it was all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your feeling? Because you didn't jump into another band. Grunge starts happening right in this time frame. What was your feeling when you saw the scene change?
Uh, where do we go from here?
Okay.
Yeah, and that's another chapter, another
But
episode.
it's
But I got into writing for films
okay.
and doing session work, so I stayed in the field.
Yep.
And I did that. Yeah, so I've got some credit that people know about. Other ones was just a ghostwriter, and I'm still doing it. I may be working on a new film coming up soon. But I don't want to talk about it, but yeah. So yeah, I'm always coming up with stuff and writing, and I just love to write music. I love to play
Sure.
music. I also do backstage at Larson's, and that's with my son Robert Jr. And we do it at different Larson's restaurants, and those are great restaurants. They're family owned. There's four or five of them, and they're just really upscale restaurants. And we bring in a stage, lighting, PA, backline, and we do a fundraiser for um, for different organizations, especially for homeless children,
Okay.
the Need Foundation, and and there's some other ones also that we're doing to raise money. And I've had also my friend Corey Feldman come in and sing a few times, and I just performed with Corey Feldman, and
No
I gotta tell
way.
you, yeah, I recorded on his EP that just
Wow.
came. And he's an excellent songwriter and performer and dancer. I mean, that guy's good.
Oh, uber
Oh,
talented. I mean, he can do anything.
oh, he's so talented. He's a really good songwriter. So,
Wow.
and he's now on Dancing with the Stars, which I'm
Yeah.
really happy to see him doing that. Yeah, he's a great guy, totally focused, and
How
yeah.
did you get hooked up with him?
Through another friend of mine, Scott Page from Pink Floyd.
Okay.
That plays also in this event. Simon Wright does it also for a Backstage to Larson's, and Teddy Zigzag and Mike Mangang from Disturb, and it's an all-star player. Neil Turbin, original singer for
Anthrax?
Anthrax, and who else? Sean McNabb. He's played with Dokken and it's played in a lot of bands, Gray White. So we have different players come in. Also, Stephen Perkins from Jane Addiction.
Oh, yeah.
He's played in some of them with us, and there's some other players also. So it's
Okay.
great. We got one coming up November 4th at Larson's Steakhouse in Woodland Hills, California.
Okay. Awesome. Um, I just want to like, so you eventually reunited with Tony, uh,
Yes.
in around 2007. Like how did you guys navigate that getting back together and,
It,
after
it,
so many years?
yeah, it was a long process, and actually, I think it happened because of social media. And his ex-wife
Okay.
reached out to me, and she kind of connected us together. Candace
Sure.
Cavazzo, and so she put us together and we talked and we started doing things together. And then I brought him to open up with me Hurricane on tour with Queensryche.
Okay.
So I had I was performing with two bands, Hurricane, and then I would do the long set with Queensryche.
Yeah.
And we did that for a few weeks and we just kept doing it. But yeah, the last record we had a singer but in the middle of it all, we were going to do it in English and Spanish. Chad Cancino, and he was diagnosed with cancer in the middle of the record.
Okay.
So we had to get a different singer, to finish the record and
Sure.
do that. But yeah, Chad, good friend, great talented musician,
Yeah.
a great singer, great drummer, bass player. He one of those guys that can play a lot of different instruments.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll hear him. There's us playing at the Whiskey A Go Go.
Okay. Okay.
One of the events at the outside of Whiskey A Go Go, one of the anniversaries.
Sure.
One that we did, then that was with Chad. Yeah, great, great, great frontman too.
And I'm almost done here.
Yeah,
You did put out the Reconnected album in 2023, but in
yeah.
October of that year, you announced your departure. I mean, can you go into what?
Of working with Tony, I never said I was leaving Hurricane.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and then yeah, Tony had remarried. From the time that I started working with him again, years later, he met a woman and
Okay.
he married her, and they're doing things their own way, their own decisions,
Okay.
and that kind of changed the whole formula of what we were doing.
Okay.
So uh, after I produced the record, after it got released and all that, it wasn't what I was hoping the band to do as a band. And we had offers to play at a big festival back east, and he refused, and his wife that he was going to do it.
Okay.
And that was 2 weeks from the dropping of the record. And that
Okay.
to me, it was like, this is perfect, right?
Yeah.
The record drops, and then you're going to do a show 2 weeks later, a big festival with thousands sold out tickets already for a good amount of money. And that's when I realized that priorities were in a different place
Okay.
for them. And that's why I'm like, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Did
And
you
that's just, yeah.
Okay.
Sadly enough, because I wanted to play those songs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, so what is going on with Hurricane now? Is there any way
it's done. No, it's done. Done.
Okay.
Uh, I try to give it, another round, and it just it's not meant to be.
Okay. Okay. And
Yeah.
then have you ever talked Kelly Hansen went on to join Foreigner. Have you ever talked to him since things went south?
I saw him at NAMM show, and we took a picture together, and then I saw him later somewhere in the lobby, and I told him, congratulations, you fit really well, being a foreigner.
Yep.
And that was it.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
many years ago. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And Jay, I talked to him. I tried to put the band together uh, before Queensrÿche, I think it was, or after Queensrÿche, and I had a recording studio. But it just didn't work out. It's
Yeah.
just some things are just not meant to happen, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to question, the universe. So uh, just move on.
And I was just you were in Jeff Tate's Queensryche with your brother, like, and that was I think 2 years. Like, how did that end up stopping?
Uh, well, there was a thing going on with who owned the name, who was going to own the name,
Yep.
and I guess they go negotiated.
Okay.
So Jeff was going out not as Queensryche anymore.
Okay. Okay.
So I moved on.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. We
I
t
played every show with him. I did
Yeah.
every show. We did, when I signed the contract, I did it all.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, once things going to change, then you can say, okay, I changed too.
Okay.
Yeah.
We talked about Idol X. What else? What have I missed, or what else do you have going on that you would like to let the public know?
There's going to be cool things coming up,
Okay.
and I I will talk about it after it's done, completed,
Okay.
and we can get together again and talk about it.
So you have an open invite. That sounds
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Um,
I do play with other people, do other events. I got an event coming up for the alcoholic um what is it called? It's the musicians picnic, which is, to raise money for musicians that are struggling with drugs and
okay.
alcohol.
Okay.
That's coming up this Sunday.
Okay.
And I think it is, or Calabasas. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll get the direction and go.
Sure.
But yeah, that's an all-star band. We're headlining on that, and then I have some other private events. I play with different people,
Okay.
great talented people, and I really enjoy doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you have Instagram. I know you have Facebook. I will put those in the description. Is there any other social media, or where is the best place for people to keep up with you and what you're doing?
Yeah, that's fine. I do have shows coming up also with Idol.
Yeah,
And we did one recently with Drama Rama and Missing Person,
I
and
saw that.
that was some theater in Orange County, and that went really well.
Okay.
Good, packed audience, and yeah, I'm just really enjoy. I'm a musician. I'm a working musician, so I do session work for others, songwriting with others,
Okay.
producing other people. I like to stay active. This is what I do all day,
Okay.
every day. Yeah.
You have an amazing story coming over from Cuba and escaping communism and living out the American dream. It has just been an honor to talk to you, Robert Sarzo. Thank you so much for coming
Thank you.
on the show.
Thank you, Anthony. Again, thank you for giving me a platform to talk about, some of my journey in my life. And I'm making new ones, new
Okay.
friends and new paths.
Well, like
So
like
it's been a pleasure.
if you have anything coming out, like as soon as you can make the announcement, you're welcome to come back on. I'll let you know when this comes out, but thank you again for your time.
My pleasure. Hit me up in 3 months.
Sounds good. All right. Take
Okay.
care.
You too. Bye.
Bye bye.